All right, I'm supposed to start by saying let's podcast, but I'm actually going to start with an ad. Hayes Permar joining me here on the OG 209, I think. I don't
Wait,
even know.
I wanted to start with the show meeting. Wait, what?
Oh, I don't know any of the buttons, man.
I'm kidding. I'm
going to start with an ad. You know why? Because I took the hardest possible way to get here to Omaha, that I need to go to Nature's Relief, like right now. Like, do not pass go. Just go to Nature's Relief. I wish I was in Garner right now at the Nature's Relief. Let me pull it up here. Nature's Relief, hempstore.com. Get yourself some sodas. Get yourself some CBD, Delta 8, Delta 9 drinks. And they got everything, man. You name it, they got it. Just got to ask questions when you walk in those stores, but they can hook you up. And I could really use a chiller right now, Hayes Permar, because I'm in Omaha. And it was a planes, trains, and automobiles deal to get here. Well, and then Joe Ovius, in his infinite wisdom, has me locked out of our YouTube account. So I'll get that out of the way early. But yes, I could really use a chiller right now, Hayes. And I appreciate you. You're not playing golf.
No, I am in L.A., as we like to call it, LaGrange, North Carolina, heart of Lenoir County, home of Josh Goodson. Not quite halfway to the beach, probably between a third and a halfway to the beach, where I am pointing my jewel. I do have a question for you. First of all, I just want you to know I am an avid listener. I'm honored to be here. Love being a substitute teacher. And I did not see, I guess, did you guys do a show from Nature's Relief?
We did before the playoffs, before the last Kings home playoff game.
I didn't see that one, but people who've also – I run into people who are fans of the show. They talk about your performance on that show. It's
a bit legendary.
It's become a piece of OG lore. So I just want the people at Nature's Relief to know that episode is getting a lot of run. So
Perfect. We're obviously here too, of course, because of Copiers Plush. They are our presenting sponsor. If you need help with your Kyocera, Hayes runs the Rialto on Glenwood Avenue. I know you don't consider it downtown. It's not downtown Raleigh. In Raleigh, more to Key. Am I getting close?
5 points.
No, 5 points. Okay, my bad. Yeah. See, this is why we're going to get into this in the Hey Joe, I think. But you run the Rialto. You own the Rialto. When you need help with a Kyocera, you need help. You need your all your tax documents. You pay monthly taxes on alcohol sales. That sounds like a nightmare to your boy. Check out Copiers Plus, the Kyocera printers, all of your digital and print needs at copiers-plus.com. All right, well, we've hit 2 of those, so let's get into the new. Let's get into where I am. Let's start with baseball, Hayes. NC State and Florida are going to play in about an hour here in Omaha. It's an elimination game. State and Kentucky played an all-time classic on Saturday, and the Wolfpack down 3-1. Then they get a home run from AMAC, the ECU transfer, and it looks like, oh man, they're going to pull this thing out. And I think I even put the feels like 24 shirt on, because I was like, man, this certainly feels like 24 to me. A big comeback. They take the lead in the 9th, end up losing the lead in the 9th. Their closer gives up a home run. It happens. It was Kentucky's best hitter. And then Kentucky gets a walk-off in the 10th to stay in that winner's bracket, Hayes. What were your reactions watching that State-Kentucky game? Because I had a lot of people tweeting at me like, are you sure NC State shit is dead? And I'm like, listen, they scored on a passed ball. State did. Like, if Kentucky's best player hits a home run in extra innings, guys, I mean, that's baseball.
I need one. You guys have declared it dead. I need somebody to get mad about it. Like, no, but NC State shit was. I feel like that people were more afraid to bring it up to coaches for the longest time. Remember Clemsoning? Like, no one was afraid to confront Dabo with Clemsoning, right?
Yeah.
And then after he won a title, I feel like somebody tried to sneak one back in, and he was like, "No,
oh no,
we're not having it." Now, does that mean that Clemson was never going to lose again? Like, no. But it does feel like, hey, we're not going to relitigate every time something goes wrong for the Pack about the death of NC State shit. Like, we're not just – I'm not going to do that every time. It feels like 21 been the death of NC State shit, and they can perhaps proceed as a normal athletic program in the near future. We'll see. but I'm not doing this every time. Like, wait, does that count as just making it to the College World Series? Mean that it was an NC State chip because the mid-season didn't look like they'd be in the post. Yeah, so I don't want to do that. What I do want to know is one of the things that I'm most proud of you about is even you're friends with Elliot Avent, you become friends with a lot of coaches, but you will flat out second guess guys when you think it's deserved. Is there anything you would have done differently for NC State?
No, I know some people didn't like that Duden pitched the ninth. He was their number one guy. Derek Smith has been unbelievable in the postseason. I thought he was fine in the 10th inning as well. I had no problem with Duden pitching again. I think Kentucky had 5 hits in that game, and 3 of them were home runs. I mean, it was what's crazy is Kentucky is a legitimate small ball team. So heartbreaker for NC State, and then Carolina. We could have been talking about them being 2-0 in this draw. They're on the other side from NC State, and they play tomorrow. They got dropped down to the losers bracket, Hayes. I don't know if you believe in this. I believe in the President's Trophy curse in hockey because the Stanley Cup winner has not been the President's Trophy winner since 2015, I believe, the Blackhawks. On this side in men's college baseball, it's been since 99 since the number 1 overall seed has won this tournament. That's weird. And not in this format. It hasn't been won in this format as the number 1 overall seed. So when Carolina wins on a walk-off home run against Virginia, Vance Honeycutt again having what kind of magic season is that guy having? Yeah. When they went on a walk-off again, I'm thinking they're going to beat Tennessee. This whole thing's going to kick in. But last night, Tennessee showed you why they were the number 1 overall seed with a 6-1 win in Omaha. So now they're on the winner's side. Carolina's going to have to beat them twice if they can get back to them. They'll have to play Florida State. They will play Florida State in an elimination game. But just your thoughts on another walk-off for Carolina and then maybe the reality check from Tennessee. I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Kentucky were the 3 betting favorites to win this tournament going into it. There's probably a reason, right?
Yeah. A couple things. One, I won't lie and tell you I know a ton about college baseball or even these teams in the College World Series. But here's what I do know. If you lose one of your first 2 games, it becomes really, 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 really hard, right? To your point, had UNC beat Tennessee, all of a sudden they feel like they're in the driver's seat. They've got the magic, the mojo. They're looking like they act the part. They've got history of having been there, so they're not some random, although at some point maybe their history starts to work against them, getting worried in the finals or whatever. But I did think – Honeycutt, especially in late game situations, is almost and Virginia learned it the hard way, don't pitch to him. I don't care if you normally wouldn't put a runner on this late in the 9th in a close game, doesn't matter. Don't pitch to him because you don't want to be the idiot that wait, you pitch to the guy that's red hot? Throw out the convention, don't pitch to that guy. So when and I won't get the timeline exactly right, he homered to put UNC on the board, right? 4-1 maybe? I believe he did against Tennessee. Yeah. Yeah. And so Honeycutt homers, and you're like, was going to happen again. Was that you shouldn't have pitched to him, even though it was 4-0? Then he comes up again in, I want to say, the 8th to lead off, and they didn't pitch to him. They didn't intentionally walk him, but they gave him nothing to hit, and he walked. And then you were like, oh, maybe it's magic again. There's, maybe he'll steal a base. Maybe he'll get in. Even if they don't get all 3 here, and you're counting the batters, you're like, wait a minute. If he gets on here and they get through 5 batters, then they can almost guarantee that he comes back up when it does matter again. And instead it goes double play. And I felt like the game was over at that point. That was UNC, Honeycutt, bringing the magic. And when that got shut down with a double play, it felt like it was over at that point. And Tennessee does feel like they're in the driver's seat for the whole thing for me right now.
I would agree. Although Texas A&M probably has something else to say about that. Or Kentucky. Again, those were the 3 betting favorites. Things you and I know. When Vegas sets somebody up, there's a reason they're setting those teams at the top of the board. So
they're not having fun picking plucky underdog stories. That's not what they do.
No, it is not. So I think I'm with you. I kind of feel like I went into this thing thinking maybe there's a chance after seeing Carolina and Duke in a Final Four, after seeing State and Duke in a Final 8 game, which we were at the Rialto for. Rialto.com. Get your tickets. We got to talk about the podcast. So make sure you remind me.
UNC NC State ACC championship.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe we're going to get State Carolina for the national championship. And then I was like, oh man, we're going to get Carolina against Kentucky. I don't know about you, man. I don't like Kentucky. I don't like their fans. I don't really like anything about Kentucky. Right down to the woman they kept showing during the game baseball school. And the announcer trying to give Stoops some love, like, oh, it's a football school. And it's like, no, sir. They have 7 national titles in men's basketball. That is what the school is. Okay. So I was slightly worried we were going to get the Giglio apocalypse. Although now that Virginia's gone, I'm like, whew, I just didn't want to be here with Virginia fans. You know how I feel about Virginia, right?
Yeah, I do.
What are your rankings of the ACC teams you hate the most? Because mine are Duke, Virginia, or Virginia Duke. It's like a tie, really.
Who do I hate the most? Traditionally,
ACC
it was probably Duke for me growing up. I have too many Virginia friends,
okay.
And there's this like all Carolina people and UVA people. I feel like kind of like look at each other with the Spider-Man meme.
Yeah, like, hey, it's okay.
Like,
we hate them too.
you're the snob. We wear the same stuff. We wear, there's difference in their athletic programs and their athletic identity, but there's too much of Chapel Hill and Charlottesville, Spider-Man memeing each other for me to say I fully hated them. Growing up, I randomly didn't like Wake, which is weird because Wake was supposed to be like Switzerland. Like, who hates Wake? And I don't know. There was something about Wake. Wake always to me felt like they were like, they act like they were academically like Duke, like, oh, it's so hard, because we're Wake. And you're like, hold on, Wake. So I think that's what always pissed me off about Wake fans. Then I didn't like Maryland. I always liked Florida State. When Florida State came to the league, they were just cool as hell. They were the most fun college football program. So I never really hated them. And even when they came in and they thrashed and had no respect for UNC basketball coming into the ACC, their team was like Cassell and Edwards and Dunbar and all these dudes. You were like, I don't know, kind of like these dudes. So Sura, yeah, just fun dudes to root for. So randomly, Wake caught more hate from me than they should have. And then, probably always Duke.
All right. This is the part.
So hold on. I have a couple questions for you.
Well, let's do this.
Okay.
Let's do this. Unless it's completely related to that.
It was on the College World Series. I was going to say, have you checked the Jello shot?
Yeah, Andrew Carter is sharing a brain with me. We both just went over there, and I was stunned. I can pull up the tweet, but it's easier for me to just look on my camera right now. Carolina is crushing NC State. I think you might be able to see some of that.
Yeah,
maybe. Carolina with 4,094. State is 2018. Only Virginia is lower than NC State. NC State is getting crushed in the Rocco's Jello shot.
Maybe State fans said, "Look, we show our passion. We don't have to like play your choreographed game to prove that we're a passionate fan base." I did want to, so you can confirm Virginia is dead last again.
Yes,
because I find that funny. I feel like they're always bringing up the rear. And then my second question for you is on a personal level.
Oh, Tennessee 8,000, by the way. My goodness.
Goodson and I were talking about this. When you flew to the Final Four, obviously there was no guarantee that they were going to win a game or win the championship, but at least you're going out there knowing you have the same chance as any 4 team, right? And even when State lost, it felt like being there was a celebration of State athletics. So many State greats, so many State fans, and again, you were playing off the glow of we beat UNC to win the ACC title 3 weeks ago. Last weekend we beat Duke, so like even if we lose in this first game, it still feels like this a worthy celebration. It's a little bit tougher, and because Josh was saying there are a ton of people on that flight out to Omaha on Sunday after the Pack had already lost one. Obviously, you've got a little bit more personal stake in it, but is it tough? Was it tough going out there with a loss already under their belt? For you personally,
no, it wasn't, because, and you remember George Tarantini from NC State, the men's soccer coach, and he was one of my mentors. So George and Colton Tudor are my 2 mentors, right?
Yep.
So George and Elliot had a really great relationship. They have a great friendship. Had a great friendship. But George passed away in 19. And one of the things that I always remember, George would go to, like, State played at ECU a couple of years ago. I think it was 19. And George goes to the game, doesn't go see Elliot. I go, what are you doing? And it was like one of these like 40-hour rain delay games. I'm like, what are you doing? Why don't you go talk to Elliot? He goes, oh, no. He knows I'm here. It's fine. You just have to be there sometimes. You just have to be there for him. I said, okay. So honestly, I wasn't going to come to Omaha after kind of blowing out the budget for the Final Four. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to go. And then I thought of George. I thought of what he said. Sometimes you just have to be there. So I was rolling the dice a little bit, hoping that obviously that they won, and I hope that they win this afternoon, obviously. But if not, then I'll be here, and I can be there to talk to E and spend a little time with him, just so he knows. I didn't mention this in my tribute to him last week when they clinched the spot here.
Which was awesome, by the way. I really enjoyed it.
You. I appreciate it. So that not only was he there the day for me, the day after I was fired, he was there for me the day after my kids were in the hospital and had emergency surgery. He came to Wake Med downtown to the hospital on New Bern Avenue. Spent about 2 hours with me and my wife. So again, that's just kind of the person who Elliot is. So like I said, sometimes you just have to be there for people, and that's what this is really about for me. And you know what else, Hayes? They're here in 13, obviously 21. No one was really here. I always said if they came back, this is something I've always wanted to come to. I've been to the Final Four before, but not the Final Four with State, obviously. So this was just really a chance to kind of hit a few buttons. And then flying to Kansas City, I got to tell you, it was $350. So not terrible. Not terrible at all. The only real problem was I had to buy a new computer, which I'm using right now. But you know how I'm going to pay for that new computer?
Get some ads.
Housekeeping. That's right. Enovana. Housekeeping is brought to you by Enovana. That's EONAVANA.com. Enovana Green Cleaning. They were out at the Ovius estate last week. Guess what, Hayes? Enovana is now going to be cleaning the Giglio estate. Enovana. They have time for you as well. Enovana.com. ENOVANA. I always wanted this cleaning service is bananas. ENOVANAS. Okay, so anyway.
Now I had an Enovana one in my head one time and I've forgotten it. The one you have now is fine. So they cleaned the Ovius Mansion and the Giglio Cabana.
Yeah, we're finally there. So and I want to say thank you to, speaking of people who have been great friends and great supporters of this program from the jump, including today, my man Hayes Lancaster, Mosquito Authority, Pest Authority. I got 2 tickets for Jessica and Jackson today from Hayes. Appreciate him. Bugsbite.com. He can take care of all of the pest problems inside your house, outside your house, mice, termites. Hayes, I don't think you got termites at the Rialto. There might be some mice running around that back alley.
I'm knocking on wood here. Okay, it's an old building. We got enough things. Don't be wishing termites on us. Also, personal request.
No, definitely not termites.
Personal request. I love it when I get shout outs on the OG podcast, or even better when the Rialto does. And I'm always teased when you say Hayes and then you're like Lancaster. I'm like, thought I was going to shout out. So can we call him Hazen? His name's Hazen. Hayes is my actual name. Hayes is a nickname. From now on, he's Hazen Lancaster. I don't want any confusion on my shout outs on this show. I need people to know that it's me. Okay. No, he can do whatever he wants. He pays a lot more than I do.
The real Hayes. And speaking of corporate champions, Whitaker and Hamer, Josh Whitaker, Joe Hamer over in Garner, but they have 5 other locations. WH.lawyer. When you have the world's greatest URL, Hayes, you can do a lot of good things with that. So WH.lawyer, check them out. Knock on wood, drove up from Kansas City. So I hit a couple states off on this trip. Had never been to Kansas, had never been to Iowa, and had never been to Nebraska. So knocked off all 3 of those in the last 24 hours.
Hold on. Do you count just driving through as having been there?
I drove to it out of the way. Kansas, I drove to specifically yesterday. And then Iowa, I got to drive to Iowa to gamble, Hayes. There's the apps only work in Iowa. So that counts.
I don't know. I was also at the beginning of the show, I was going to ask you when we were talking about Nature's Relief, much like gambling laws, like, is there a book that tells you like what the laws for whatever, all kinds of things, gambling, whatever else? Like, is there a guide to that somewhere when you're jumping state to state? Like, this is a yes on this state, no, not on that, but actually we do have this now. Do you do that research?
Use that app, Hayes, we could use that app, and we could probably make a little bit of money if we did, because I'm sitting here Googling, does DraftKings work in Missouri? Yeah. Does DraftKings work in Nebraska? No, it doesn't. We need that. But it does.
Do I need a medical card to buy certain things? I mean, you can throw. I mean, hell, North Carolina. Like, do they have a whack alcohol system system where I can't get liquor at the grocery store. Like a Vice app would be amazing. Like, what are the laws about the things that I like to do at the place I'm going? Help me out here. I think we should do this.
This is why you're a whole lot smarter than I am. So we have the podcast festival, August 24th. It's a Saturday. It's at the Rialto. Tickets are on sale. This is the part where I'm supposed to be like, oh man, tickets are moving fast. You better go get them. We're running out of tickets.
All right, Dimitri, who's done an amazing job setting this thing up, lining up some sponsors, getting all the things in place, and getting an incredible lineup, including you guys. We came out of the gate with like an incredible sale number. I'm telling you, my promoter is like for concerts, and we're selling a lot of great music concerts too, a lot of stuff selling well. But he was like, "What the hell is this thing? Like, what are you guys doing?" And that's it's not a cheap ticket. I want to have a chart of like what things cost, so that when we charge something that's like $50, it's a reminder of like, hey, $50 doesn't even get you into a good Hurricanes game anymore. Okay, $50 is a reasonable price for a very, very, very good night of entertainment, right? But he came out, we sold great, and then on day 2, he was like almost sold out, and I was like, there's no reason to juice this any more than it is. It was an incredible sale. There are tickets still available, but I've learned a few things about how sales go, and it is on pace to sell out. So if you want to guarantee that you're going to get in, you should buy one now. We had a huge sort of opening weekend, and then have sold steady ever since then. And that is the 100% truth. That's not a sales pitch or anything. Yes, you are not going to be sold out tomorrow, but you could get blocked out if you wait till the day of. So go ahead and get those tickets in advance, and it is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great crowd.
Yeah, the podcast festival, August 24th. It's at the Rialto. You can buy those tickets at therialto.com.
Go ahead. Well, I was gonna say the only thing I'm worried about. I listened to the Down Fullcast guys when they did their live on Indy. I was trying to get a chance of what it's gonna be like, and this is what they do. They're gonna come in and like make fun of North Carolina, and even more specifically Raleigh. And like I might get actually mad. Like if they come in and they're like trashing my town, I might be like, this guys, yeah. But it'll be a lot of fun regardless.
You do like to take those things personal, that's for sure.
I do.
The Sports Podcast Festival is brought to you by Breeze Through, their presenting sponsor for our big get-together at the Rialto. Oh, also, I can confirm that our primary guest that day will be Debbie Yao. Debbie Yao will be able to join us at the podcast festival. So she's coming down to the Rialto. If there's some merch you want to hook Debbie up with, now's your chance to get it all lined up and ready to go. So thanks to Breeze Through. Breeze Through is there right across from the arena. They have 17 locations in the state of North Carolina. The coffee is amazing. Obviously, they have all of your tailgate needs, and they have us covered when it comes to the podcast festival. All right,
Debbie's a real one. This. I'm saying we need to have. Don't try and get all her secrets, but like we need to have 2. Debbie, give us the full story on this. Give us the story. Give me some details of a Swafford phone call where you said we're getting cheated here. Like I want to feed the Wolfpack fans in there the red meat of Debbie Yao calling the commissioner and be like, we think this is not a conspiracy theory. We think you're against us. I need stories from Debbie.
All right, now let's get to our specialty, sir. All right, are you ready for this? Because we have the OG gambling syndicate, Josh Goodson, our friend, joins us for the big golf tournaments now. We make our picks. We did well this week. We hit you with a couple of winners. Bryson DeChambeau obviously picked us up. But I'm going to need you to vamp here for a second. Do you know why?
No, because you got to pick some winners for the day. You got to put your bets in for the games.
No, more important as we're talking about buying new computers. DraftKings is the only thing that we have like a legitimate read for. And
you need to go find those details.
Yes, and they actually like do an air check. So
you got to find that, and I could talk for a little bit about I am curious if
do whatever you want to do. Just give out that promo code OG24 and you can get $150 in bonus bets once you bet $5. So let me find the right copy date for June 17th, and then I'm going to let you vamp here, okay?
All right, am I vamping now?
Go.
Okay. One of my favorite things was listening to you and Chip talk golf. It's one of those things where, like, I even like gamble. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I've been somewhat deep in the gambling game, but I still don't get into betting the way that you guys do. And it's one of those things, I find it when I listen to Bomani and he's talking about the rap culture topic that I don't totally understand. Like, I know enough of the things that they're mentioning, but you guys talking, like, I'm not even understanding everything that you're saying, but I'm still enjoying every minute of it because you guys clearly understand. You're like, what about first round leader Nordic players? What are you going there? What, and so all the things that you guys were talking about, comparing different courses, even when I don't understand all your gambling talk, I always enjoy it. So please bring Patterson back up and nerd out on some more gambling picks.
Oh, he is amazing. So I appreciate everything that he does for us.
He used to do that on Sports Late. He'd come on and like teach us terms like wonders, wind aided unders, like in a football game. Like, oh, it's a windy day. There's no passing. Kicks aren't going in. That's a wonder, baby. We just all kinds of terms like that. I just love, even if I don't love them, I just love knowing them.
Are you into the Euro Cup right now? Euro 2024.
I'll slowly get into it. I'll get into it more at the knockout phase.
You will. Okay.
I'm not fully committed to watching group play at the Euro.
Okay.
Is it good gambling?
You know what's crazy is I do not have a read for this week for DraftKings. Right. I have 10. I have 3, 10, and 24. So maybe we don't even have a. Let me just double check. Because like
maybe it's like back in the day in radio, there were certain weeks that like didn't even count for the book. So truly, like the bosses are like, nobody cares. No, like the ratings aren't even running. These will not count. So maybe that's why this is DraftKings. Okay, the one thing I'll say about soccer betting opened my eyes to something that why don't we do this everywhere? Over-unders and things that are not money line, right? Like underdogs +3 or whatever. Those scores should be determined by the score of the game at the end of regulation, regardless of if it's tied.
Yes.
If you pick an underdog and the game is tied at the end of regulation, then like you did your job. You were like, I thought this team would stay within 3 points or 5 points or 17 points, whatever it is. You win, and that should not be under threat. And I realize that like those odds are baked into the bet. Like that's part of fine. Adjust the odds, make the value bet worse for me or whatever. But I just want to know. If I bet the under in the game and the total, if I bet a basketball game and Virginia's playing and I'm betting under on 90 points and it's 44-44 at the end of regulation, I won. I was right on how that game was going to go, and I should not get screwed because the score happened to be tied at the end. Soccer gets that right. Everyone else should take note.
I will say this. I have 2 plays for you. Even if I don't have a read, I got 2 plays for you. They're both favorites. I like France against Austria today, -180. It's a starchy number. You can parlay that with France to score more than 1 goal. It'll get you to about -110, which is fine. I also like Texas A&M tonight. Again, a little bit of a starchy favorite, -150. But I think Texas A&M is actually the best team in this tournament. At least that's what Aaron Fitt told me when it started. So give me Texas A&M and France.
I like your France bet. I think England might be the overall favorite, but they've got like Cubs energy or like Red Sox energy, like you don't trust, or like ACC at the College World Series energy, where like you don't trust them necessarily. Then you got Germany, who's got a good team, but they don't like perform well at home necessarily. Germany doesn't play well in Germany randomly, and France feels like, hey, we've done this before. We're not no pressure being the favorite, so I like France playing relaxed, easy soccer, and I'll back your pick there.
Okay, I like it. All right, let's just in case, man. I'm gonna try to get this right because I would hate for them to be not happy with me. You know what I mean? Like that's the one thing I can't screw up is DraftKings. So let's do this. You ready?
Yes.
All right. We are this close to crowning an NBA champ, and with the action heating up on the court, it's even hotter at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New to DraftKings, listen up. New customers can get a no sweat bet up to $1,500. Just deposit at least $5, and you'll get a bonus back bet equal to your first bet if it doesn't hit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code OG24. That's OG24 for new customers to get a no sweat bet up to $1,500 if your first bet doesn't hit. only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Or in West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. One no sweat bet per new customer, issued as one bonus bet based on the amount of initial losing bet. Bonus bet expires 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.co/bball for eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Holy smokes, Hayes. Holy smokes. All right, there's the Doobie Brothers minute by minute ripoff that I love so much. Thank you from Brian at Ninth Price.
Can I bring up something as a fan? Like, you don't get this because you do the show, but as a fan, and I think other people might. Do you? I only, probably in the last year, I would say I finally became a podcast listener. Before that, it's not that I never, ever have listened to one. Every now and then there'll be one that everyone's talking about. It's 4 episodes or whatever. Or like, what a guest I like was on this, and so I started listening to it. I mean, you guys probably influenced that, right? Like, I couldn't catch you guys on my radio, so I need to go to podcast. Like, Bomani's had a podcast for a while, but and every now and then I'd want to hear his take on it. But only in the past year would I say I've got 3 to 4 podcasts that I listen to a week, and I don't catch every one of them, but I catch a lot of all of them, right? But one way I get it all in is I listen to you guys and others on 1.5 speed. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you do this?
Yeah. Now, Aaron Beard does that. Yes, our friend from the Associated Press.
So, I do that. So, in my mind, all of your songs are faster. So, when I hear it like, dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun, I'm used to dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun, dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. And then the same thing, and this is not just you. I'm not intimating at what goes on in your podcast at all. This is true to all the podcasts I listen to. You listen to them on 1.5. And it's weird. I guess your pitch doesn't go up; it just speeds you up. You know what I mean? It's not like the Chipmunks, where all of a sudden you're an accelerated pitch. But then, so you're at your natural like cadence and pitch. But sometimes, then when I hear you slow, every podcaster sounds drunk because they sound like they've started talking. So I'm just used to listening to you and Ovius and Bomani, all these other guys. At full speed, and it's just funny when you catch it. So hearing the songs now in slow time, and I know I'm not the only one. There's somebody listening who listens at 1.5 or 2 speed, and then if they hear the songs, they're like, "Whoa, what is the way everything's?" I must have been at Nature's Relief hanging out or something. The songs are just slowing down for me. So that's just a fan note.
I think everything's slowing down for Bryson DeChambeau after winning on the 72nd hole of the U.S. Open, and Rowback is the official golf shirt of the OG. Use that promo code OG20 and you get the best golf shirt there is. I'm not even kidding. It's the best cut. It's the best feel, the moisture wicking, all of that other stuff. It's not like you're getting ready to go run in the Olympics, although we will talk about the an Olympic event in a minute here. It's a great material. They know exactly what they're doing. They're in Charlottesville, so see, it's possible for me to like things from Charlottesville. So, Rowback.
Yeah, if they pay you, you'll like things from Charlottesville. Is that the
not at all? Rowback has the best golf shirts. They have the best hoodies. They have the best shorts. You name it, it's the best. It's Rowback, RHO back.com. You want to fill in the role for Chip and do it, or you want me to do it?
Roll back.
Use that promo code OG20. All right. Did Bryson DeChambeau win the U.S. Open, or did Rory McIlroy lose it?
Man, I want to say Bryson won it, but Rory lost it, didn't he?
I
mean,
want to say a
Bryson.
little bit of both, just because of the shot that
That's
he hit out of the sand.
that's all I could think of. Bryson had to deliver. When Tony Finau birdied 18, you're like, oh, and he's the clubhouse leader. But and then you're like, wait a minute, they wouldn't back all the way up to him, would they? And then you're like, no, they wouldn't. But you at least crossed your mind the way things were playing out back there. So Bryson earned the right to say he won it by even the shot before the bunker shot, even the shot to get to the bunker. That could have gone worse or put him in a worse position. But yeah, that's a
second shot on the 72nd hole off the route, off of that native area. That was an unbelievable shot. And then, if you're wondering if I'm trying to cast, if you didn't follow the U.S. Open down at Pinehurst, Bryson DeChambeau was really good on Saturday. He had a magical round on Saturday and had a 3-shot lead going into the finals. And Rory was actually able to take a 2-shot lead himself.
That's what's crazy.
On the back, he was playing so well. I believe Rory is the most talented golfer of all time, even over Tiger, because Tiger knew how to scramble. Tiger knew how to beat you left-handed. Rory, when he's hot, when Rory's molten hot, in my opinion, is better than anybody on their A game. I know it's slightly controversial, but he also has not now won a major since winning in Valhalla in 2014, and now so he's up. And you're sitting here going, okay, well, what's going to happen here? And I'm going to show you what happened. I'm going to share the screen here. This is from the 16th hole where he had won. He had made 496 of 496 putts inside 3 feet this year. And at this point, he has a 1-shot lead. And it's just kind of like, all you got to do is nurse that thing with the bring it in, and you see the 3-foot putt that he missed. And I think this is why people are like, Rory, what happened, man? What happened?
It was okay. Golf when it's not.
Now wait a second. You were down in Pinehurst yesterday?
No, I was not.
Okay. Just for the post game.
I'm not sure what you're referencing. Did I say something that made it suggest that I was down there?
Wait a second. I thought you texted me and said you were hanging out with.
Oh, no. We'll get to that in a second when we talk about is DeChambeau likable now. But just speaking of, I mean, okay. Normally, when you play match play, you're playing against one other golfer, right?
Yes.
When it's stroke play, it's supposed to be you versus the course. You go out there and put whatever score up, and then we all lay our cards down and look, who had the best score. Rory definitely got disadvantage, and I can't tell. I mean, you're more of like a course buff. You'd be able to like tell me what actual course you'll remember where U.S. Opens are played. You'll know what the last 5 holes at Pebble Beach look like versus the last 5 holes of the U.S. Open. But it felt like the openness of Pinehurst and Rory's ability to literally see Bryson behind him worked against him, right? Like if he is just out there truly playing around and not realizing, what's going on around him, he makes those putts. Like there's nothing else. I don't want to go full Malcolm Gladwell and break down what is choking versus, what is just a mere like not performing. But like, and choking has become the point. Like, so many Stephen A. Smiths and Skip Baylesses come on Monday morning and have to be like, he choked. Then nobody wants to call a choker when they see it. But it's like, man, the only thing that can explain, like you said, Rory, he had putted well all day. He had played well. He's good in a U.S. Open again, good enough to win. And it's just inexplicable missing those 2 putts, and you feel for him. It was unbelievable to watch. And let me say this real quick, and I'll let you respond on the strategy stuff. As a very selfish, world revolves around Hayes Permar as a sports fan, I absolutely love this U.S. Open. Because what have we gotten the last 2 times? We've gotten either a dude who disappears and we never hear from again, and Michael Campbell, or Keimer, who didn't disappear completely, but he didn't go on to become like the next big thing, and he just wasn't fun to watch. As a guy who had to suffer through 4 days of Trevor Immelman winning a Masters, like Martin Keimer made the thing not fun. Now we got, I was so worried, and you can make fun of me when I get these guys' names wrong, but I was so worried it was going to be DeVry versus Pavon or whatever, and we'd all be like, great. Another, like, completely rip it up and forget about it U.S. Open at Pinehurst. Like, can't we get something awesome? We had 2 awesome dudes. The crowd loved both, would have loved either one. And the crowd's not rooting for mistakes. But like, what do we always say about a U.S. Open? Like the average golfer loves seeing like, oh my God, look at that guy flub a chip, or oh my God, look at that guy putt off a green, or oh my God, look at that guy gag a 4-foot putt. It feels like the closest thing to real golf that we see. So 2 lovable golfers, U.S. Open things happening at U.S. Open, and we come away with Bryson DeChambeau, who now we may have made a likable figure again. I loved it for Pinehurst, and I loved it as a sports fan. And now we'll get 2 or 3 more U.S. Opens of Bryson DeChambeau walking around. That is what you get at the Masters, when you got former champions walking everywhere and you just get to start applauses just because they're walking on your course. We get that now with Bryson, and hell, maybe even Rory will be here in 5 more years and they can try and do it again. So I loved what it meant for Pinehurst and the U.S. Open.
Yeah, I think after 05 and 14, I said, I think Pinehurst is due. We got one of those.
Yes.
And then I thought Bryson, you mentioned lovable. His makeover has been unbelievable. And I'm selfishly going to tell you this. I think Rick Shields, who is a YouTube golfer, so I'm going to consider him one of my compatriots, one of my contemporaries. I think he's done more to help his personality and to shed a different light on him as a person than anyone. And I don't expect that you've watched any of these videos. They're mostly super golf stuff, but it's really like Rick is this British guy who usually just tests products, but he's now playing certain holes and games with guys. And one of the things he does with Bryson did a series of them, was like, here's an illegal driver. How far can you hit it? Here's a putter. How far can you hit it? Here's a 1972 Persimmon wood. How far? And it's just like, it's like when I would go to my uncle's house in Boston, when I was 18, 19, I could eat everything. And like, he was just so fucking happy to see somebody who could eat that much and be that skinny and be like, no, now we need to go to the pizza place. No, now we need to go get a sub. No, now we're going to have linguine with clam sauce. Like, that's what it looks like when you have Rick Shields giving every club that he has in his bag to Bryson and just seeing if he can smoke that thing and get up, how high he can get up on the swing speed and everything else. So I think he's done. I think it's somebody told Bryson, hey, this is going to help you, and I think it's been great, and I think he's kind of embraced. I think a little bit of his background was, by the way, go ACC legend now. I expect him to be honored. In Charlotte soon. SMU's that's our ACC legend.
Hey, right? Our DeChambeau.
Ours. That's our guy. No, I think he had a great personality makeover. He was obviously considered the loser of the Brooksy, DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka, battle of personality clash. There really wasn't much to it. That just took on a life of its own before the live split. So I think he did something that was really smart, and I think he was likable. And I want to play this clip from when he was asked about Rory and how it finished, because I thought this was a really this was a really good answer too.
His round, but can you empathize with Rory's feeling right now, coming up one shot short?
Assuming it works, it might not.
Yeah, I hear it.
Might be a Joe Ovius. Might need to.
No, I hear it.
You can hear it. Okay.
Rory's one of the best to ever play. And being able to fight against a great like that is pretty special. For him to miss that putt, I'd never wished it on anybody. It just happened to play out that way, and he'll win multiple more major championships. There's no doubt, and I think that fire in him is going to continue to grow. And I have nothing but respect for how he plays the game of golf, because, to be honest, when he was climbing up the leaderboard and he was 2 ahead, I was like, uh-oh. But luckily, things went my way today.
So I think he was. I said, did Rory win or did Rory lose? Did he win? You can make the argument, obviously, that Rory should have won the tournament, but Bryson, like I said, was spectacular on Saturday. I thought the way that he ended that sand shot he hit on the 72nd hole was not easy. And for him to pull it out the way that he did was fairly remarkable. So you're ready for the US Open, or what's your next golf What's next on your golf calendar? Even the British Open, or you'll just wait for the Masters to check back in?
No, I always like the British Open. For me, personally, once again, turning the lens of sports through 100% selfish. I broke my wrist not too long ago. Very, 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 very mild. Very mild. I'm totally fine. But like literally today, I could have played Crystal Coast Country Club, and instead I cannot. So I am just looking for like. There's things that I definitely still can't do, but I've been putting a club in my hand and like working my wrist back and forth because I'm not a good golfer, but I get fired up when you see golf in Pinehurst, and then you're like calling your buddies and you're like, hey, let's get in an early round before this starts or whatever. I definitely would have tried to play Sunday morning in this weekend of golf, so that's what I'm looking forward to.
Last time you played, you were hitting your driver really well.
Nothing sticks. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that means this time I'll be putting well and my driver will be terrible and then they'll be fixed. I've got nothing consistent in my game right now.
Sounds right.
On DeChambeau, hold on. I want to say a couple of things. Yeah. One, sometimes we make people into bad dudes just because we want to. I was reminded of like he had done that some to himself, and it was twofold. It was one, the acting like he's smarter than everybody, right?
Sure.
Like he had that Zuckerberg effect of like, he might be smarter than most of the golfers on tour, but you don't have to act like it. There's plenty of walk around. You've been in rooms where you're the smartest guy in the room, and when you're not, and you know how to act in both ways. And I do. Like I'm a smart guy. I'm in rooms where I'm smarter than other people, and I'm in rooms where there's plenty of people smarter than I do. But you just know, not even if you feel like you're the smartest person in the room, that doesn't mean you have to act like it, so openly by saying, Augusta's a 67 par for me. You know what I mean? It's like, good Lord, And then somebody floated this theory, and I think it might be true. Going to live might have been good for him, not just in whatever, obviously the money, like all that stuff, but like I forgot. It wasn't just the I do my clubs different and I 3D print my own stuff and I play the game differently. It was the getting super mad at rules officials, basically going Luka Doncic on rules officials when they weren't making him happy, or yelling at his caddy about a rope or whatever. And Bryson might be a guy that like
manufacturer, the driver that he was mad about. Yeah.
Yes, he was almost like Ian Poulter, where man, if we had to truly watch this guy every week, we'd be sick of him. But when he just comes in and you can either love or hate him for the Ryder Cup, he's fun, right? Like I'm pulling against him in the Ryder Cup instance, but just letting him do his thing is fun when he's not insufferable that you have to do it every week. So I think that's part of it too. And then when did he win his first U.S. Open? 2020?
Yeah, 4 years ago.
And then he went to Live. So it was like COVID and then Live. So he hasn't really been among the masses as much as a winner and now like a two-time winner. So I think winning also, when he came and talked all that game about how much smarter and better he is than everybody else, it's like, well, you better back it up. And when he would flame out at Augusta, people are like cracking up when you called it a par 67 and then you weren't very good. Now that he's won, I think he's a little less stressed. He's like, okay, maybe I'm not going to win every major like I said I could, but I've proven that I'm a winner and I'm as good a player as I thought. So the thing that I had mentioned was he talked about wanting to take the trophy around and let all the people at Pinehurst see it last night. Well, he literally did that. He stayed, I guess he rented out just a house that, on either side of him was just normal people with their kids living in Pinehurst like they normally do. And so that night, the whole cul-de-sac came out where he was like, yo, come out and like hang out with me, drink some beers and take pictures with the trophy. They did that. So I think he has, again, we love it when we get to tell you, hey, you've turned it around and you used to be unlikable and now you're likable. Like America loves that. And it feels like he's kind of gotten that and we've embraced it. And we said, hey, we watch you. You could have collapsed like Rory did. You made a steely shot. You made a nice putt. And you seem to really enjoy it. I mean, I'm not going to go too far, but his, like, whatever that shake was, if he goes on to captain a U.S. Ryder Cup team and his teammates seem to all like him, maybe we see another statue. Maybe we see a Bryson statue down there. And it's cool also the respect and admiration he had for Payne. I think that makes him easily embraceable guy for Pinehurst. So seemed like a fitting win. I would have preferred Rory to win, but I'm totally happy with the way it played out and happy with Bryson DeChambeau as the U.S. Open champion in Pinehurst.
Your boy had a nice ticket on DeChambeau yesterday, so we were definitely rooting for my big boy, as I like to call him. So
love to see it.
The winner, always the winner, is Happy and Hale, and of course you have a connection to Tyler. at Happy and Hale?
I do.
Like, that's amazing.
Hellickson was a counselor at Camp Seagull, great dude, super well-liked guy. Campers looked up to him, loved him. He's a really good basketball player, nice dude. And now, for a while, we were like single men about town in Raleigh. So, like, I feel like I'd always, like, pass him. Like, I'd be coming out of some cool event that's probably getting a lot cooler, and he's going in it, and I'd be like, hey, what's up, man? What's up, And then I happened to see him. I was on a scooter. I think he was on, like, an electric bike or something. I was like, hey, saw you linked up with the Ovis and Gilia. And he's like, yeah. He's like, well, what do you think? I was like, great call. Good dudes. And I don't just say this to, glaze you or whatever. I think you guys have done an excellent job of curating sponsors who truly you support and you like, and it's not just money. You know what I mean? You guys have embraced that. That's what you bring that regular print, television, radio, whatever can't bring. You guys show up and your sponsors are part of the show. And so that's what I told him he was getting. I was like, it's a perfect fit. You're local. You do it. You're a do it right guy. They do it up that way. So it's a great partnership in my eyes. And again, he's a good hooper. You would respect him.
Yeah. He's got great food. I mean, that's the thing. I know people might think, Gilio, you could probably use a few more salads. I can, but they're really bold. They're really good stuff. They have great smoothies as well. Download the app. You get a free smoothie when you just download the app, and then your birth month, you get a free bowl. The Thai chicken peanut crunch is currently the clubhouse leader for me with Happy and Hale. So go check them out. They're over in North Hills on the old World of Beer side of where the amphitheater is. They're on that side of North Hills, and they're also on Strickland and Six Forks, and they have a location in Durham.
Where is that again? Just that area of Raleigh? I just like hearing you say it.
Okay, that is going to be. So I'm gonna call an audible on what we do for the rest of this program. But let me hit two more.
Okay,
I got two more. Speaking of places I love to go, the Butcher's Market. Got for Father's Day. I got signature steak tips. Got chicken, but the signature steak chicken breast, which is unbelievable. So I'm basic. I look into their the display case, and I'm like, I want one of those, and one of those. Joe likes to go into the freezer section. They serve crank arm beers now. I like that, particularly at Lake Boone. Lake Boone is the OG epicenter, and if you haven't been to the OG epicenter, or the next time you're in the OG epicenter, go to Butcher's Market first, and then Two Roosters. Two Roosters, while yes, they have the home base on Person. That feels like your home base too, over on Person.
Yep.
They are over at Lake Boone as well, and Lead Mine. This month, the flavors of the month include the frosted animal cracker, which is pink and delicious, and coffee cookie dough.
Yeah.
Coffee cookie dough.
Yes,
Got to be
I'm aware of it.
Kidding me. Unbelievable.
Okay, a couple things. I'm going out of the beach. I literally have Butcher's Market signature steak tips and chicken in my car to take to my friend who I'm going to impress at the beach and be like, hey, man, I prepped I marinated some steak and chicken. I'm definitely going to go off. He's from out of town. I'm pawning it off as my own. And I've heard you guys say this, and obviously I don't want anyone to take this as like 100% literal gospel truth. The craziest thing about the signature chicken is you cannot mess it up. I swear I've put it on there not long enough. I've put it on there too long, and it always comes out good, man. Again, don't try it and be like, hey, I burned signature chicken. Look, you can't do it. It's incredible how juicy it stays and how well it cooks. It makes you look like a better griller than you are. I'm a fake griller. Signature steak tips and chicken do it for me. And then on the ice cream, my wife, when the new flavors come out first of the month, usually we're like examining them and throwing back and forth. We're like, what? I was like, I can't go. I cannot go. Like, I've got to wait until the 15th of the month, because if I go get coffee cookie dough on June 1st, I will be there 20 days out of 30 in June, or however 30, whatever. I was like, I cannot do it. My budget and my gut cannot take 20 pints. So I held off until about maybe the 13th. I think we went either Thursday or Friday. And I didn't even consider buying a cone. I bought 2 pints of coffee cookie dough, took it home. I've already crushed one. saving the other. It's testing my willpower. I've done a good job. But no, it's the coffee cookie dough is amazing. And when they do their guest series and people vote, we'll be running an online campaign to make sure that coffee cookie dough is back. So
I just text Jared and I'm like, hey man, you got to, I go, first it was the Guinness whoopie pie. Now it's the coffee cookie dough and the animal crackers. He's like, listen, I can't keep them all on the menu. I was like, I know, man, I get it. But everyone, all of his choices are winners. So check them out. 2 Roosters. All right, before I call an audible here, an easy way to maximize your number one investment, which is your home, is to use our friends at Hometown Realty. That's myhtr.com. 6 locations from Raleigh to the coast. Can't say here because I'm in Omaha. But Barry and his crew probably could help you if you're moving to Omaha, sell your place in the Triangle. So buy and sell with confidence. That's myhtr.com. And then, you want to save money on your insurance, your home, your car. Maybe there's a pet involved. Maybe there's some other things involved. You want to save? Have a conversation with Matt Davis. It's 919-779-8277. This is the best thing to do. Call and say, hey, here's what I'm doing right now. How can you help me? And a lot of our listeners have turned into Matt's customers for that reason. And he's also honest with you. If he can't help you, he's going to tell you, I can't help you. But 9 times out of 10, he's probably going to help you save money, and usually a significant amount of money. All right, Hayes. This is normally where we would get into the lightning round, but I'm going to call an audible since the baseball game is about to start. What I'm going to do is we're going to go to Hey Joe. We're going to answer one Hey Joe question. Okay. And and we'll talk a little bit about our friends over at Crank Crime, because I think so you'll have a question for me and I'll have a question for you. And then we'll save the lightning round for tomorrow. Yeah,
we got to have some stuff. We're running out of NBA finals and hockey are all going to wrap up here soon. We got to save some stuff for later this week.
All my fault today on getting here. Maybe I'll get into that story here. Maybe I'll save that for tomorrow. But either way, and I know you got to get it going as well. And I appreciate you, all of your patience today in filling in for Joe Ovius. All right, so all this requires, man, to find the piano music. Let's see what Joe calls this one. I was going to say, I think this is the one where all right, let's get out of here on some Hey Joe questions. Let me check the comments real quick. Oh, look, Steven's missing you.
Who is?
On your screen. This is Steven Vimont, Vimont, RIP Sports Channel 8, the radio show and the podcast. Well, you can always go to the Rialto and hang out with Hayes, buy yourself a couple of beers. Hayes has 40s at the Rialto.
Actually, we need to replenish those. Those are limited quantities. Sometimes they're in stock, sometimes they're not.
We'll make sure we have them then for the.
We'll have them. I got the shutdown fullcast guys. I love that.
Okay, they'll be great. And then Ken Oberg, top debutante, my guaranteed easy bunny that did come home. So all right, let's get into. Woo, that's the wrong button. Banners, nope. Brand, yeah, we're back. Okay. Well, you want to start with my question, or you want to start with your question?
Start with your question.
Okay. Hey Joe, or hey Hayes, what do we have to do to get Crank Arm beer over at the Rialto? You're playing hardball with my guy Adam by saying he's not in your neighborhood. Am I understanding this dispute correctly?
Who asked this?
Am I understanding this dispute correctly?
All right. First of all, I am a sucker to a pressure campaign. So if you want to keep leaning on me, I probably will cave. I'm soft and okay. But my idea was to have all beer on the taps. Cans, I'll get some Crank Arm cans in there. That's what I need to do. But to have the taps, because 5 Points has a bunch of breweries right there, it was like, and the Rialto 5 Points, it's a big marketing thing to be like, yeah, we're super local. Like you talked about, we're not downtown. We're almost this perfect. We're very close to downtown, but we don't feel quite downtown. It's like, a little bit of neighborhood. We're in kind of that ritzy part, the Hayes Barton neighborhood, of Raleigh. But we've got Nickel Point, Noose River, Linwood. Trophy just bought a building, and they're putting a building there. So I've been counting them, even though technically they own a building in the neighborhood, even if there's not a trophy open yet. And I got a long history with those guys. and Ponysaurus just moved down there at Ironworks. So the goal was to have them all in the neighborhood. Oh, and R&D, who makes Storm Brew. So like when we did Cane's game and stuff. And I know people will say, well, R&D is kind of more like corporate and they get distributed by a bigger distributor. But R&D and their tap room truly is right there on Capitol Boulevard, and the back of which backs up to 5 Points. So even though Crank Arm, it's not very far away, they would not
all
claim.
I hear you saying is the cans will be there.
You're gonna
That's what I hear you saying.
But here's you want me to fully peel back the curtain. The reason I'll guarantee that I'll get cans is previously the Rialto did carry Crank Arm, so I have some Crank Arm shell. I've got some shells of kegs from like 4 different breweries that I'm currently not working with, and they don't want to give me money for my kegs, and I don't want to give up kegs for money. But somebody's presented the option of, can we swap cans for keg shells, and that I'm going to do. So at that point, I will definitely get some Crank Arm beer in there. And then I'll probably find and look, I'll play this game too. Okay. You want to get in? Somebody is going to earn the right to make the Rialto beer at some point. So maybe somebody just needs to put their package together and come to me, and obviously whoever's making the Rialto beer will be represented in other ways in our place. So
yes.
I know a lot of people go to breweries asking for a beer to be made. I've got a strong brand in Raleigh. I'm going the other way. They're gonna have to compete to make the Rialto beer. So, but no, love the Crank Arm guys. Yep.
Before we get to your question, your question for me, which I'm gonna get wrong, I can just tell you that Jean is one of our #1 fans, and she said, "Didn't know you'd be on early today. Glad I tuned in early. Looking forward to your story of how you got to Omaha and got the new computer, pulled off all the technology. Great show." Yeah, Jean, you're too much, first of all. So I'll try to tell a condensed version because I know Hayes has to go. First of all, I had to buy a new computer. My new computer does not have a YouTube password. That was about the last hour of delay, was trying to get into the YouTube account, which I still can't get into. Okay. Second of all, I get to Kansas City yesterday. Like I said, the flights to Kansas City were very reasonable. I think it was about $350. So flying to Kansas City yesterday, I go. I'll give them a free plug because I like them. National, I always use National. Okay, you go in, you pick your car, you leave. Well, the boys, Jackson and James, are here. They're like, "Hey, we want a Kia." So I got a Kia. I didn't realize it was an electric car. So I got 30 miles down towards Omaha this morning when I realized I'm trying to find the gas gauge, can't find it. It's an electric car. So I said, I'm going to have to turn around, bring this back to the airport, which is what I did, and change it out and try to convince them hey, I'm the idiot who got an electric car that I didn't realize was an electric car, and I'm driving to Omaha. So changed out the car, got here. I get here, I think it was 10:45 local, so an hour behind you guys. Then I couldn't pick up my credential until 11. So now I'm sitting here going, what the? Hayes is like, Joe, I'm trying to get to the beach, man. I know I told you I would help you all 4 days. I didn't know it would require me, staying in Raleigh and waiting for your sorry ass because you don't know how to work an electric car. So yes. So we have a computer. I'm going to figure out tonight how to get into the YouTubes. So that part's good. We got an Ethernet here. That's good. And we got Hayes tomorrow morning. Will be a little bit earlier. Normal 2:00 release tomorrow, I think, is how we'll be able to make this work. Hayes and I will record in the morning tomorrow and then release at our normal 2:00 time. Now, Hayes, let's close out Hey Joe, brought to you by Crank Arm Brewing. Go check them out on West Davie Street. My Bike is the one that I like. Bike Pump, also a good one. So they have good stuff at the Crank Arm. Check them out, crankarmbrewing.com. Okay, Hayes, you have a question for me, don't you?
Yeah, and I kind of regret doing this without. I really want to do this with OVS, but maybe it'll be easier because you're a more reasonable person, so maybe you'll actually hear my explanation, and then you can help me convince OVS how I'm right on this. But it's very simple, and to me, it's been always a sort of sneaky way to tell if somebody is originally from Raleigh or just a carpetbagger like you guys. I know. Yeah. I love how you've been here for 30 years in your case, 25 plus in Joe's, and yet still you can't be recognized as native. Sorry, that's how it goes.
No, that's how it works.
So I think you'll hear me. How do you say the name of town? It used to be a mall. It's not really considered a mall anymore. sort of part inside and part outside the belt line, right there around Six Forks, Lassiter Mill, that area. What would you call that area?
I call that North Hills. North Hills.
Okay. Now, I feel like because we're doing a pronunciation lesson, you're like trying to play it a little bit straighter. But let me see if what I'm saying makes sense. Okay. Say the name of the show with the cartoon show that's been on Comedy Central for 20 years, where they're in Colorado, that has Cartman in them. What's the name of that show?
South Park.
Just say it.
South Park.
I'm going to watch
South Park.
South Park. All right.
Yeah.
What's the name of the big city that they call the Big Apple?
New York.
Okay. Can you tell me which accent the syllable goes on in South Park versus New York?
No, I can't.
Okay. I'm a linguist. I know these things.
Okay.
There's a difference if I said I'm going to watch the show South Park. Like, that sounds weird, right? I'm watching South Park.
South
Same
Park.
if I said, so it's South Park, emphasis on South Park. If I said, hey, I'm going to New York, you'd be like, well, that's wrong. It's New York. The emphasis is on the second syllable, New York, South Park. So the way I say North Hills is accent on the north. No, excuse me. Accent on the hills, North Hills. And I feel like you guys say up there at North Hills.
North.
You say it like
Hills.
South Park.
Like North Hills. You
So
say
like Happy and Hale up there at North Hills instead of North Hills. And it's very subtle, but I'm telling you, hear. That's what I was trying to do ones that everybody would know, because people will fight me on this. Be like, there's no difference. If you say I'm going to watch South Park tonight, they're like, what? South Park. It's South Park. If you said I'm going to New York, or even like I'm going to New Jersey, it's New Jersey. The emphasis on Jers is the emphasis. So it's North Hills. Emphasis on the hills, just like emphasis on the York, not like South Park, where the emphasis is on the first syllable or the direction. So that's my Raleigh pronunciation lesson for the day. It's North Hills.
It's the most Hayes inside the Beltline thing ever. That's so on brand. I love it.
No, the most on brand thing would have been calling you out for saying that Lake Boone is the OG epicenter, and my response would have been like, but you guys never even went to the Lake Boone Country Club.
No, I did when I was in school.
All right, respect. Then I'll let you like
Come on, man. Come on.
All right.
Give me a little bit of love there.
For those listening, if you want to sound like you actually know what you're talking about, it's North Hills. North Hills.
Okay, I'll work on that. And you get to the beach, and I'll work on our technology, make sure we have a more normal schedule tomorrow. I appreciate you filling in. We will see you tomorrow. We'll do some lightning round. We'll do all the other topics too. We'll see how our teams do here in Omaha as well. Appreciate you filling in, Hayes. See you tomorrow. Make sure you do all those things, like, subscribe, do all those good things. You know what I'm talking about. Let's see if I can find some miracle post this. Yeah, it's right now. Let's do this.
Go Pack.